RSL Nation, welcome back to the RSL Bros.
Welcome back.
Alan,
I am Marcos. Welcome back, guys.
Poppy, he wanted to be called Poppy. I got you on that one. Marcos, well, actually, no, I don't want to ask you how you're doing yet. I want to, first off, thank everyone that has followed us, new followers. Welcome to the show. If you haven't seen it before,
Bienvenidos.
bienvenidos. We're really, really grateful that you started following us, that started seeing our content, liking our content. Marcos, what do you have to say about that?
Thank you. Welcome.
Oh, good.
It's just gonna get better from here. Like no other podcast that does RSL has two bros. Like find me another podcast that with two bros.
I think there's others.
But this is where the party. This is where the magic's at.
This is where the magic's at. This is where the party's at. But anyways, Marcos, how are you?
Well, as of yesterday, Wednesday, it is now officially summer. We had summer solstice. We had the longest day of the year. So can I get a whoop whoop?
Woot woot.
We had 15 hours of daylight yesterday, and boy, did I take advantage of that after work.
So did my kids.
It felt so nice, and summer is here. It's awesome. I love it. So, how's your week been?
Well, week's been all right. I mean, like you mentioned, longest day of the year yesterday, and the kids took full advantage. Bedtime got moved to way later. Putting kids to bed during the daylight, I feel like if any of you guys have seen The Simpsons, I feel like we're the Flanders family. I mean, granted, I'm putting the kids to bed at 9. It's like it's not even like that early, but it's not even that late either. So, anyways, week is fine. I'm glad that the weekend's coming because that means we get to see more RSL.
Oh yeah,
we're really excited for RSL. Like today, we may not have like a hugely packed episode, but we're really excited. Game against St. Louis.
mm-hmm.
Positive things coming out of it. We have our future transfers, or we're starting to getting them going. We're talking more about them. Plus, we're gonna get some people back, and we have a game this weekend. What else can we ask for?
Yeah, a lot of things we need to break down and talk about on this episode. And if you guys were watching last episode, I had a blank wall, but I'm back home at the right, everybody. So don't worry, I am back home.
Yeah, that we finally got a hold of whatever was happening. So we're glad that you're back at the riot, Marcos.
The IT support called and they brought me back to the riot.
IT/brother support. Anyways, let's dive in. Let's get into it. So
let's do it.
We had a game yesterday, because we're doing this today. Yesterday, Wednesday.
Yeah, so against St. Louis, and if you remember the first time we played St. Louis, it was a beating at home, 4-0. But
let's talk a little bit. I want to talk about more my feelings about that game. That 4-0 game caused me to go into some weird. We'll call it. I won't call it a depression.
Not depression.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't a depression. It was a lull.
We can talk about your feelings as well.
Not right now. Not right now. And that's another session. But this one brought me into a lull where I was like, I started saying, I hate you, front office. I hate you, Pablo. I hate you, players. What is wrong with you? Because
I will agree. That's when I was hitting that peak as well, because it was that time that we lost 4-0 to Columbus as well, right after that.
After that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh frick, we have a terrible defense. We can't score. What's Elliot doing? What's Pablo doing? Dump them all.
I mean, and doing what's funny about that 4-0 loss is that supposedly we had a better lineup. We had actually, look at that lineup. Since we're going to be on this topic real quick, the only differences we had was Julio was playing, Merrim was playing, Gomez played, and that's it. Well, and McMath.
Well, then you look at St. Louis, they had some obviously huge changes to their lineup. Like they had Klaus playing that game, they had Lowen playing that game.
Hmm.
I'm trying to see who else. I think that was just the main two biggest changes for them in that game,
Tells you how important those two were, and
right?
and I don't know if only those two made the difference, but we only had 4 changes compared to the last time we played them.
Right.
I think our mentality has changed, to be honest.
Yeah. Something has definitely switched and clicked into gear, which I'm glad it's now instead of who knows when.
I'm glad we're doing this run. Well, I mean, starting this run.
Yeah,
We're getting good momentum now, and it's better now instead of September when we're trying to like fight for the last playoff spot. This
which
is
that's how it's been the past 2 seasons for us. That's what we're known for, getting the last playoff spot the last day of the season.
right, and this feels different. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone knows that this feels different.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't want to jinx it, like knock on wood, but we're like talking about serious contenders about not only MLS Cup, US Open, but we're talking about getting a higher seed for playoff.
For sure. And we'll talk about that more in this episode of how tight the Western Conference is after last night's game. Things just got a lot more tighter with different teams that won and different teams moving up. So it's it's anybody's race right now.
Yeah. So let's break down last night.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
bring it on.
So of course, like like we know, we had 4 players out international duty. So no Sava again, no Julio, no Rubin, and no Heda. And that didn't really make a difference at all because we had, like you said, pretty much the same kind of lineup that we had the first time we met. But main difference was we saw Luna had his second start playing on that left side, Yakusin starting, and then same exact defense, minus Beavers in goal.
Yeah. Let's go through the start with the first half.
Hmm.
So first half at the very beginning, I got nervous because St. Louis came out with a high pressure. They
Yeah.
came out just chasing, and they were coming out um like hungry dogs because they had just lost their last game, and they're like, we're at home, we're really good at home,
Hmm.
and so they needed to show that off. I don't know what your feelings were at the beginning.
Yeah. I was slightly nervous as well. Like we kind of know, St. Louis was kind of I think they were undefeated at home, so this is like their fortress for them. This is their stomping grounds, and as we know, we're one of the best teams on the road. So this is this is what we do. We win on the road and we take care of business.
Yeah, yeah. And so after we took the blow for the first 10 minutes or so, that's when everything started settling, and that's when our first goal came around the 15th, right? um
Oh my
yes,
goodness.
15th minute. So break it down. What did you see? How did you feel with everything that went down for that goal?
Yeah, we see the setup from Musovski dribbling on that right side, going. He does a pass across the middle, and then we see Kreilach looking like he's gonna do a dummy pass, but it just looks like it goes in between his legs, and then Diego Luna slots home his first goal for RSL, which doesn't come at a better time because people have been asking, wondering, when's Luna gonna finish? When's he gonna finish? When's he gonna start as well? And he's answered both those questions.
Yeah, yeah, and in fact, I I, I think we should focus a little. I mean, yes, the Musovski run down the right side, crossover across the top of the area, Kreilach's dummy, great. Those are
Hmm.
all excellent.
Yeah.
But where this play starts is in the defense. If that defense was not alert and was ready for a potential St. Louis attack, we wouldn't have gotten that the clearance up to Musovski, and that's where Musovski comes in and his vision to take it out wide, create space in the middle, and that way Kreilach could run. And great on Luna. If you're watching him before
Hmm.
Musovski crossed midfield, Luna was still on the defensive half.
Exactly.
He hauled to get to that
Yeah.
backside, um, and that was awesome hustle, awesome play. You couldn't ask for a better counterattack, to be honest.
Yeah, and we've talked about it the past few episodes, how we've kind of been hesitant and kind of we'll get into a little bit more about how we've been unsure about Kreilach, how he just hasn't seemed like himself. He seemed like he's kind of been walking, not to his form, but he showed hustle on this play, especially just came all the way from almost half field and kind of did a little dummy pass and just in between his legs, and then Luna just does the rest and takes care of business.
I don't think Kreilach had any other choice. I mean, it's between
Yeah,
him and Musovsky up top, so he had to run.
yeah,
And first, I mean, I don't think leadership has anything to do with this, even though he was the captain. It was great awareness that he needed to be in that position or in that area in order to have Luna free behind him, and also great area awareness to know that Luna was behind him. I don't know. I didn't see on the replay at what point he looked back to see where Luna was, but somehow he knew.
yeah. I don't know because that kind of sparked my curiosity too. It's like they have like this sixth sense for each other, good communication.
I mean, Kreilach is he always has a kind of a sixth sense. He does a lot of dummies. He does a lot
Hmm.
of dummies
He does.
because he understands where people should be. Now,
Hmm.
if the people are there, it turns out just like that first goal. If people aren't there, it kind of makes him kind of like look somewhat dumb, but it makes everyone else look dumber because knowing that they should have been in that spot. So, absolute perfect goal.
And what was sad, Luna's goal was not on one of the MLS goals of the week. Should have been. It was a banger.
I don't know because
There were some other good candidates,
there was
but
only one other good candidate that absolutely deserves goal of the week, and that was Philadelphia's. You saw
yeah,
that. It was
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But I am glad that Luna finally put his foot down and got his goal, and now he's finally getting minutes and proving to Pablo and his staff that he deserves to get that starting role.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he got a lot more minutes
Oh
this
yeah,
game.
oh yeah. We'll
Um,
we'll get into that.
yeah, we'll get. I mean, we'll get into how it might. I think it might affect Saturday's game, but
Yeah,
we'll get into that when we talk about Saturdays. Um,
but but about 5 minutes or so after we took the lead, things kind of went a little bit south right after that. Um, St. Louis goes for a cross from Nerwinski, and then the person you talked about in the last episode to keep an eye out for, Giochini. Giochini rises up right over Justin Glad, and
yeah, I'm not going to argue whether it was a foul or not because, I mean, it was one of those where you're like,
it
mm.
didn't it didn't really seem like there was much contact.
I mean, contact, no, like contact, no. It
There was
was
a pull down on the shoulders.
it was Giacchini like pulling up Glad's shirt up his backside,
Yeah,
and but Glad also had his arm reached back and was grabbing his jersey at the same time. So it was almost like, well,
but of course every single foul in MLS is checked with VAR, so didn't see any much to call it for much, but great goal by Giacchini. You got to give props that with that goal that makes 8 on the season for him.
I would have wished that Beavers. I mean, I didn't grow up as a keeper. I played at like a third string keeper. I don't know if you remember me in high school. I played a
Well,
third string keeper.
you're short, so that has to do with it.
Stop it. Nick Raimondo and me are the same height. Okay. He says he's 5'9". That's a lie. He's 5'7". But for some reason, I would have thought that with that cross, the header was inside the 6-yard box.
Yeah, it
I
was.
would I would have hoped that Gavin would have like come out and stuck a fist inside
It
Giochini's
that
face.
that seems like the realistic thing, but it just I guess he was thinking that Glad was going to be able to out jump him or be able to just head the ball away, but
I mean, probably lack of experience at such a high level, or I say high level. I mean, this is the highest level in this country, but um, maybe it's lack of confidence. I don't know, but
yeah.
I wish that would have happened. I don't know how feasible it was. So I'm not a
Yeah.
keeper.
Yes, it's one of those what could have happened, what could he have done better? But it's in these moments that I'm glad Beavers is getting these opportunities to prove himself, to learn from, to get better.
Especially against a good team because it wasn't just that situation. He had a lot of situations where he saved us. He
Oh yeah,
actually made a bunch of saves. So I mean, it's not like this one cost us the game. This isn't
no,
one that's, I mean, he should have had. This is one of those potentials like, probably have to watch film. Maybe I'll position myself better.
for sure, for sure. But going into halftime of this one, tied 1-1. But right to start the second half, RSL makes the first change, taking off Yakusin and bringing on Ching. You and I were kind of talking about this one, I think, during the match, and you said
Mhm.
that Yakusin just kind of looked invisible, not really nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Yakusin, there was a couple of times where he would gather the ball, he would try to make a run, and somehow it just wasn't clicking for him. He wasn't getting the right moves. He wasn't. His vision was very closed.
Hmm.
Um, his effort seemed below par. That's just what it seemed like. I mean, you guys can let us know if you saw the same or what you saw, but for me, there's a reason why I think Pablo switched him out at halftime
Do you
because he
feel like
wasn't.
do you feel like a lot of this still has to do with the fact that he's still a rookie? He's still learning.
I'm not sure, to be honest, because
Because like we look at Anelli, even look at Gomez, but obviously he's not a rookie, and look at how young they are. But Yakusin was one of the better players. I think he was. I think he was like top 10, top 15 in the MLS draft. So he was a high draft pick.
the draft has me
Yeah,
loco.
yeah.
I, I don't believe in the draft. That's my black and white opinion. But I for this game, Yakusin did not perform up to the level, which is why I think Pablo switched him out and switched him out for Chang, which I
Hmm.
think Chang definitely should have had the start over him.
I
But
agree. I agree.
but with Chang coming in when he did, it helped us out a lot down
Oh yeah.
down down that wing.
Like, can we say Cha Chang? He knows how to create chances when they are needed most.
I mean, I've been saying this the whole season. Don't underestimate Chang. He is a really good player, even though he's 30 years old. He's been
Yeah.
playing with us since 2017. He knows our system. He knows the players that have been there for a while. Um, I'm not sure where the quote unquote hate comes in for Chang. Um, I've I haven't been like a fan, but I've liked having him in the game. So
Yeah. I've been curious as well as to where's the hatred. Why aren't people loving what Chang brings to this club? Because I think I kind of have jumped on that Chang bandwagon after he did so well in the Open Cup game against Portland, because
look,
that was the point where it kind of proved to me that he actually is worth something.
well, um, I've I've known that he's been worth something to use your words. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
probably the
yeah.
wrong expression, but um, for years now. He's been playing well for us for years. Um, Granted, now he's been pushed down the list because of Gomez, because of Luna, but he's still a great substitution. He's a great 70 plus minute substitution. He'll
Yeah.
give you what you need to end the game. What we saw last night was Chang getting involved in play. Um, with Luna on that it would have been the right side. Luna
Hmm.
went to that right side on the second half. Um, that that helped out a lot with Luna coming down, Chang pinching in from his side, and that's what that's what gave us Kreilach's goal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like you just mentioned, Chang in the middle for a great back heel, which set up that play right to Kreilach. And I don't know, you can't. you can't picture that any better. Just right on a platter, and Kreilach needed that goal as well because Kreilach has kind of been a little MIA so far this season.
Yeah, yeah. Because of that, I mean that brought a lot of. It was almost like a he just what's the celebration that some people do? They like take off whatever juju, bad juju.
Yeah,
That's what it was like for Kreilach. I'm assuming.
yeah, and I'm glad he got that. And just from that one goal, we had the lead 2-1. And right after that goal, there was just complete dominance on our side. It was just a whole new monster just came out from the woodwork.
Yeah, because the first half there was just moments of us that we had good
Yeah.
momentum, but the second half is when and to be honest, I don't know if it was because of the Chang substitution, but the Chang substitution changed a lot. And that
Hmm.
second goal changed a lot because
Goals change games.
thank you. Um, um, so I think because of either the Chang substitution or that second goal, that's when we ended up with a lot more momentum, and it felt like we were on the front foot a lot of that second half.
Yeah. And then about 20 minutes after we took the lead with that 2-1 after Krylock, Brody going down the left flank, um, literally goes in for a nice cross the middle. And who else? The one and only King Krylock once again just hammers it for a second goal on the night.
And again, I'm going to rewind just a little bit because if it wasn't for Andrew Brody's hustle, I mean, and awareness, because it was Parker that totally bulldozed Musovsky. I mean, totally bulldozed him.
He did.
In fact, so I watched this game in Spanish because I get a lot more excited when I hear things in Spanish. So on the
Okay.
English broadcast, they were saying this is what happens when you go after the player and not actually play the ball. Parker played the player. He wanted just to foul. But because he did that, he missed the ball going right past him. And
Hmm.
Brody, being aware, keeping to his run, because he was going to do an overlapping run anyways, he kept to his run and obviously got the ball. Parker almost caught up to him though.
He did.
Um, at the where when Brody crossed it, it was when Parker was like right on his back, ready to plow him again. But it was great awareness by Brody. I want to shout out to the referee for allowing advantage because that was
Yeah.
a good advantage. If
Yeah.
man,
I,
if he
I
would
was
have if he
I
would
was
have
a
called
little
that,
I was a little weary. I was like, he's gonna come back. He's coming back for that foul. But no, he's like,
yeah. So I mean, great. We'll call it a
we kind of
combo play.
we've kind of talked about it in the past couple episodes how we've kind of been iffy about Brody, how he's kind of been beat on those balls. Do you feel like this assist right here kind of proved that he maybe is a little bit better than we thought?
Mm, my opinion of Brody doesn't improve, and it doesn't. It's not taken. Nothing's taken away. Um,
Yeah.
I I think he's doing his job. He does provide a lot of plays down his wing.
Yeah.
He does cross a lot, which allows for aerial plays in the area, allows for dangerous plays. So he definitely contributes, but I mean it's only because that's what he's supposed to do in his
Exactly.
role.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, what more can you say? It was a good goal to a great finish, and Kreilach definitely needed that, and that puts it on the total for Kreilach. It's at 4 goals, so he doubled his amount in just one game.
Well, and because of those two goals, it won him Player of the Week.
It
Well,
did.
player of the match day, we'll call it.
Player of the match day, and then
So
with that as well, Luna, Kreilach, and then as well. I'm missing out, and Brody as well.
Brody, yeah,
It was I think Brody was on there.
I know Pablo was.
Yeah, Pablo Mastroni all made a team of the match day. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
That was a must. I wouldn't say must, but it was I would say surprising. Is surprising the right word?
No, because you can't be surprised. You said they were going to win.
I
I'm
did
the
say
one that
that.
should be surprised.
You're the one that said surprised. So, but with having 4 starters out, that's what's the surprising factor for me.
So, I want to talk about real quick because this game now ended. The table. What does the table look like?
Yeah, that's right. So right after RSL was playing, there was still other matches that were going on. Obviously there was LAFC Seattle that was going on. LAFC won that game, so that was kudos. That was good for us. But with the win last night, we we moved up a little bit. We are now at 7th place with 26 points.
I think we stayed the
T-
same, to be honest.
I think we did stay the same. We're tied in points with Dallas, but Dallas is ahead of us because they're at -1 on goal differentials, and we're at -6.
What does everyone else look like above us? So we have
San
LAFC.
Jose, LAFC at 32 points, St. Louis at 29, Seattle at 28, Houston at 27, San Jose at 27, and Dallas at 26.
So between first and seventh, there's 6 points.
Yes, that's correct.
That is crazy.
There's a reason that they call it the Wild Wild West every year for the playoffs. Like you go over there and look at the East, like you got like a 40 points to like 20-point difference.
Well, in fact, let me just mention real quick, the difference between 1 and 7 in the East is 13 points.
No, 15.
Are you telling me I can't do math? 43 minus 27? 16.
Here on the RSL Bros, we do math apparently too.
We challenge each other to math problems. Gee whiz. Leave the numbers to me.
No, it's Abuelo's bedtime, so
It's not Abuela's bedtime. Come on, it's not even that late.
but anywho, yeah. So the East is always a spread out game. It's 43 points for first place. The last playoff spot, 23 points. So it's like, yeah, it's huge margins.
Yeah. So, but the same time that our game was going on, we had another game that was important to RSL fans. Not as important, but only for one player.
Because I don't know if you guys remember, we got this player by the name of Nelson Palacio. Kind of a big deal. Plays for Atlético Nacional, and he was playing in a very important game yesterday. And Alan was watching it, so
Yep, I decided to tune in just for a little bit because I hadn't seen him play, to be honest.
yeah.
So I needed to see what he was like.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I wasn't disappointed. Though I wasn't like thoroughly whoa, is super impressed. But he plays exactly well as much as I can describe it. He plays similar to Pablo Ruiz. He plays that defensive midfielder, at least with Atlético Nacional.
Yeah.
He plays a defensive midfielder, which really helps out because he played a lot more defense instead of more offense, which begs the question: if we put him as a starter, does Ruiz move up? Does whoever plays alongside Palacio move up more? That's one we'll have to see in the future. But he had a really good game. He had a 93% pass accuracy. He had
Impressive.
100% successful dribbles. He won 60, almost 70% of his duels. So this guy is legit.
Obviously, it was only one match that you watched of his, but from what you saw, would you say kind of better than Ojeda or kind of similar?
Similar.
Similar?
Very, very similar. And I think because of the style of player that we were looking for, we had to get someone that was similar to Ojeda because
Yeah. Makes sense.
um, because at this point, neither you or I know if Ojeda is going to stay. There are other people that know, but we don't know. The only thing we can figure out is that his loan ends and he costs a lot more money than this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I think we needed to find someone that was similar to Ojeda.
Yeah. So their next game, League Two, is Saturday. They play at the same exact time as RSL's match. So if you guys want to have double screens on to take part and watch both games, do it, because you won't want to miss out on Nelson Palacio before he joins RSL.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out on watching at least these two teams play, especially in Colombia, because the time that I watched, it was physical, feisty, it was in your face, it was legit South American ball.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say that's the kind of soccer that you get in all of South America. It seems like
yeah, so I
it's a
don't be surprised if when he comes in, he ends up being like oh, what's his Brazilian face's name? I can see him. You're supposed to help me.
I wish I could. I'm drawing blanks reading minds tonight.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyways, we had the Brazilian defensive midfielder flipping.
Oh, Everton Luis.
There we go. Thank you, Everton.
Yeah,
He's going to come in as aggressive as Everton.
I like it. I like it.
I'm telling you, that's how
I
he's
like it.
playing these games. He's playing aggressive.
Perfect with like the tenacity that we get from Brian Vera, and then those two combined. Whew.
Well, let me just tell you that in Colombia, they play hardball. Like I watched it, I was like, oh my goodness. No wonder Vera plays like total like
And
bulldozer mode sometimes.
with having 4 Colombians starting for us,
Look, if we can have Palacio as a semi bulldozer, Vera as a bulldozer, Gomez as a creator, and Chicho as a goal scorer, mamita querida.
adios.
My
Nos
gosh,
vemos.
nos vemos. We're going places, my friend.
But with that, we have another match on Saturday. Back home at Mi Casita at the Riots, against the Loons of Minnesota, but unfortunately they're not bringing the Wonderwall with them.
Wonderwall.
You know what? You're always going to remember Minnesota for that because of me.
Because of you and because of the Wonderwall.
You're welcome. But just breaking down and previewing Minnesota, they have not won a match since May 20th, back when they played against Portland. Does that kind of looking at that, does that kind of give you confidence and just know that this is a must win for RSL?
um,
Like kind of an easy match?
it gives me confidence. Yes. What makes me nervous though is if we are overconfident.
Yeah.
Only because the players that they have a couple of veterans on their defensive line. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think Boxall, or Boxall, however you pronounce his last name,
Hmm.
he's been
Yeah.
there since 2017. He's had, I think, one of the
Yeah.
most caps with Minnesota since forever.
Hmm.
Um, they have Will Trapp. They have Fragapane. They have a goalkeeper that's I wouldn't say he's doing like super well, but he's
He's
had
doing
his
decent.
shutouts.
Five shutouts. I think no, he doesn't. I think he comes off the bench for the Canadian national team.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of caps. So um, the only thing I think I can be confident on is that they are struggling with goal scoring. They're
Which is funny enough, kind of as they're struggling with goal scoring, they get Emilio Reynoso back.
So Emilio Reynoso, if anyone, if no one knows who he is or what has happened, for the past year, if I'm not mistaken, he's
Yeah.
been part of a criminal investigation for domestic violence in Argentina. So he has been, he was suspended by the team for the past, I want to say at least 6 months, but it could
Yeah.
have been since like mid last season, which obviously would be a year. Um, And so he hasn't been able to be a part of any team functions for the past while. And so he's barely coming back. He's played off the bench the past 2 games, but the past 2 games have been the last game they played was a 4-0 loss against Montreal
Hmm.
away,
Yeah.
and then a 1-1 tie against Toronto, which Toronto is also a horrible team. And before that, they lost 2-1 to Austin before we beat Austin.
Yeah.
And before that, they tied us 1-1.
Do you feel like with Reynoso coming back, with him just coming off the bench for these past 2 games, do you feel as it's going to be kind of hard with like that chemistry in the locker room because of the huge thing that he did, finding trust with his teammates?
So I'm not sure. I'm gonna assume that they don't want any part of whatever happened to him. So they're just gonna be like, dude, just come play. We're moving past it. So my fear as an RSL fan is I hope that he doesn't gain confidence that he's gonna run all over us,
Yeah.
all over our defense. Now I don't know if he's gonna start. To be honest, if he's been coming off the bench and playing not that many minutes the past two
Yeah.
games, I don't know if he's gonna start. So one, I'm not too worried about Minnesota offense because they haven't been producing. They've the
No.
past what do we say 5 games they produced 3 goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So since May 20th, yeah, only 3 goals since then.
So yeah, so after May 20th, it's been 3 goals.
Yeah. After.
So I'm not concerned about that. Again, I'm concerned about us, especially trying to fit at least 3 of our internationals that are coming back. Let's talk about that. 3 of
Yeah.
our
So
internationals come back.
Sava, Julio, and Ojeda. Um, 2 of those I obviously see starting for Saturday's match, Sava and Ojeda, and then Julio just being a super sub as he is, which we need because we've seen Kreilach and Musovsky go longer minutes than usual, and it's paid off for Kreilach because he had 2 goals obviously last game, but I don't want to see Musovsky just play longer minutes. I want to see Anderson Julio get more minutes because we just saw Anderson Julio get his first cap for Ecuador.
So here's my concern with the forwards. I think at this point, the forwards that we have, they've gone into a mode where like I need to grab any kind of minutes I can because Chicho is coming.
I,
Once
I,
once
I see
Chicho
that.
starts, who gets replaced?
Do you not go with two up top, two strikers up top?
No. We want to have this formation conversation because we
Oh,
could be here for a while.
but yeah, like you said, this is a time where Kreilach, Musovsky, Julio, and I guess even Yakusin are all fighting for minutes. Who starts? Who comes off the bench? Because once everybody comes back, even once Rubin comes back from Gold Cup, because he's not back yet, it's gonna be a dogfight.
It's an absolute dogfight. So, I mean, we're talking like this, like it's a bad situation. No,
No, no,
this
no.
is a super good situation. But
Because
I
yeah,
mean, I want to give priority to Chicho, to the players that we're actually paying good money for.
it's something that we haven't seen in seasons where we've had a deep attack, and now is it we don't really know how to use that. How so it's a good time.
I hope my hope is that Pablo uses it correctly because I I'm not all about um, spreading minutes equally because we're all equally good. No, let's find our starting forwards, our starting attack,
Hmm.
and let's stick with them to make sure that they have good cohesion. Because you're talking to me about starting 2 up top. I'm thinking we need to do 1 and then 3 attacking winger midfielders
Hmm. Yeah,
because that's the only way that we can play Sava, Luna, Gomez, and Chicho.
yeah,
If you
agreed.
put 2 up top, you're either sacrificing Luna or you're sacrificing another someone else someone's forward.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to Hispanic attack. So
I mean, unless the only way around this I can find is if you do play two up top, your wings are going to be Luna and Gomez, and Sava is going to play up top with Chicho. That's not Sava's preferred position, but if you're going to play a 4-4-2, that's how you'd play it.
yeah, and I could possibly also see Pablo doing a switch of maybe Palacio and Ojeda switching off, maybe going back and
Well,
forth each
well,
game.
that's the thing. If Ojeda stays.
Yeah, obviously if that's the big question. Um, but yeah, going back to Minnesota, they're sitting almost dead last in the West. 20 points, 15 goals scored, 22 against, -7. So we've seen this story happen before at the Riot where a team comes in, this is a must win. We saw that with LA Galaxy when they beat us surprisingly. We saw that with NYCFC 2 weeks ago, draw here. So I think having a full team back, fully healthy, this is our time to finally get that win at home. No draws, none of this petty points at home. This is 3 points or nothing at all.
Well, and I think before with the LA game, we had some kind of confidence. That's when our confidence started coming up. We're like, yeah, we just beat Colorado doubleheader. We're coming off of a Minnesota draw. We're doing great. We're going up on the up, and I think we were almost there. We came back against LA, and then they again came back against us. So because you can't say that right after that we had the Austin game and we beat Austin. Then we beat LA. Then we tied. Then we won. And then we won. There we go. I was trying to count how many games. So ever since that LA loss, we've been on the up and up.
Yeah.
I think we're coming in with more confidence than we did for that LA game, the league game, not the Open Cup game.
Yeah, especially with having back-to-back wins on the road, which if you look in the past couple seasons, that's kind of rare of us to do. Having 5 wins on the road right now, having the best road record, we need to have that switch, like have that be at home, where we are easily securing points, getting 3 points. So
And I
it,
think we can do that because if you look at our next couple of games, at least through mid-July, we're having Minnesota, we have Toronto. We're going to Toronto. I would hope, let's hope, we have Orlando, who's
Chico's debut.
Yep. And then we have Kansas City, which they're on the up and up as well. So that's going to be a tough battle game. So
and then Red Bulls, and then we have a long break.
then we have Leagues Cup, which depends on how well we do at Leagues Cup. It could be a long break, or we could be going all the way to the final, and we're gonna be playing right after that. I think Open Cup, which I'm gonna say here, I'm still nervous for Houston. Houston is doing really well right now, really well.
Yeah, so they're also a team that I've been tracking. I guess as every RSL fan has, because definitely don't want to lose in that game. But and any other last minute thoughts for Saturday's match?
No, we could be here for hours. You know me. I'm like that guy on the whiteboard, like with all the red lines everywhere.
You are.
We could, but I'll save everyone's ears for tonight. We'll leave it at that.
I'll leave it at that. No, but it's gonna be a good match. 7:30 back at the Riot. Oh, but before we end, we can't end like that. Of course. Why we gotta end on a good note? You know what time it is?
What time is it?
10:33, but it's actually
Prediction time. This guy, we're going to, this guy should be proud of us.
He should. But since I started last time, it's all you.
Yes. Okay. So
Get away halfway.
we're gonna keep it on the conservative side, because ever since I got burned from that LA game, I'm gonna keep everything conservative. We're gonna do well. We have our international starters coming back, so this one is gonna be an easy breezy 2-0.
I like it. I like it. We get a clean sheet, which we haven't really we've seen at home, but I'm also gonna go for a victory for us. But you took my dos a cero, so I'm gonna go one up you. I'm gonna go 3-0.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gonna be raining goals on Saturday. So pull out an umbrella, cause nothing's stopping anytime soon for this.
You think we scored 3 on Saturday? We're gonna score, or sorry, Wednesday. We're gonna go score 3 again.
Yeah, why not?
Cool. I like it.
Why not? So 7:30 at the Riot. Pack it, be loud, because we got our guys back. We got Saba, we got Julio, we got Ojeda back. What more can you ask for? Like, we got a full healthy squad.
I mean, seriously. I mean, again, we haven't been hit by the injury bug this season.
No, not at all. So perfect time. If you're just jumping on the RSL bandwagon, welcome. Where have you been? Now's a good time to be an RSL fan.
Seriously, it's a
And
great
also,
time.
if you are not following us on any of our platforms, Instagram and Twitter at the RSL Bros, hit us a follow. Since you're probably watching this episode right now on YouTube, hit the bell, hit the notifications, subscribe to us.
If you're still
Tell your friends.
watching, we love you
We love you.
because we love to talk. But if
We
you're
do
still
love to talk.
watching, that means we love you.
We do love you. Like, it just it warms my heart that you guys follow us, and the more you follow us, we'll give you great content, and that's what we love to do.
Yep, we will give you all the great content because between the two, there we go, the two of us, I'm like pointing this way. Between the two of us, we have a lot of a soccer experience. I mean, like we've mentioned before, I mean, I have like 10 plus years of reffing experience, like 15, 20 years of playing or being a part of the game. You as well. I mean, we have insights that we like to banter about. So if you want to comment, if you have an idea that, hey, you guys haven't thought of that, or you guys are dumb for thinking that, bring it on. Let's just talk. Let's just banter
Please
it out.
leave us the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to hear it all. So let us know what we're doing good, doing bad, what we can improve on, and we will help you guys out with all that. But until then, until next time, we'll see you guys then. See you guys later. Bye.
Achoo!